Imagine choosing between two job candidates. One looks more likely to advance quickly, while the other seems more likely to stay with the company.
I would weigh both things and choose whichever balance matters more for the role.
But what if I tell you the promotion chance as a number, while I describe retention only in words?
I would like to think that format would not change my judgment. The information is still about the same two qualities.
That assumption is where things get interesting. A number can make one side of a trade-off easier to compare, and that may pull attention toward it.
So the number does not have to be false. The numbered dimension may simply feel more decision-ready.
Exactly. The paper is titled, "Does Counting Change What Counts? Quantification Fixation Biases Decision-Making."
If one feature is quantified and another is not, could the presentation itself change what I choose?
Across managerial, policy, and consumer decisions, the researchers tested that by changing which side of a trade-off was shown numerically.
Then this is not just about liking numbers.
Right. It is about whether quantifying one dimension can tilt preferences toward options that look better on that dimension.
A metric might influence not only what I know, but also what I treat as important.
That is the central idea behind what the researchers call quantification fixation. Why would that happen? Numbers are supposed to help us make better decisions.
They often do. If two products have prices of 80 and 100, the difference is immediate.
That ease of comparison is useful, but it creates an asymmetry when competing information is expressed differently.
For example, one employee could have a numeric estimate for advancement, while retention is described verbally.
Exactly. Now, imagine swapping the formats. Advancement becomes qualitative, and retention becomes numeric.
If my preference shifts because of that swap, then I am reacting to representation, not only to the underlying trade-off.
That is the key research question. When some dimensions are quantified and others are not, do people lean toward the option that dominates on the quantified dimension?
And the paper needs to show this is not tied to one unusual wording choice.
Yes. The abstract says the researchers compared numeric information with verbal estimates, discrete visualizations, and continuous visualizations.
So the broader contrast is between an explicitly numeric dimension and a competing dimension conveyed without a number.
Correct. The researchers also looked beyond hypothetical preferences.
Because an effect in low-stakes survey choices might be interesting, but limited.
The abstract reports financial consequences too, including incentive-compatible hiring tasks and charitable donation decisions.
So the practical question is whether counting one thing can make it disproportionately powerful when choices involve competing priorities.
To test that, the researchers ran 21 pre-registered experiments.
How were they divided?
The abstract reports 8 experiments in the main text, with 9,333 participants, plus 13 experiments in the supplement, with 13,936 participants.
And what did participants actually do?
They faced decisions involving trade-offs. The employee example captures the structure. One option can be better on one dimension, but worse on another.
So there's no single option that wins on everything.
Right. That matters because the researchers wanted to see which dimension people effectively gave more weight when comparing competing strengths.
Then they randomized which dimension was shown numerically and which was shown qualitatively.
Exactly. That randomization lets them ask whether changing a dimension's format changes preference patterns.
And the qualitative version was not always vague wording.
Correct. Non-numeric information included verbal estimates, discrete visualizations, or continuous visualizations.
So, if preference repeatedly moves toward whichever dimension receives the numeric treatment, that supports a format effect.
That is the logic. The experiments covered managerial, policy, and consumer decisions, testing the pattern across different kinds of choices.
And some tasks had real consequences, helping show whether the effect can matter beyond a purely hypothetical judgment.
The main result was striking. People systematically shifted preferences toward options that dominated on the trade-off dimension presented numerically.
So, if option A looked better on the numbered dimension, quantifying that dimension made A more attractive than when the formats were reversed.
That is the pattern the researchers named quantification fixation.
And it showed up across the decision settings described in the study?
Yes, the abstract reports the effect across managerial, policy, and consumer decisions.
What about the financially meaningful tasks?
Quantification fixation also emerged in incentive-compatible hiring tasks and charitable donation decisions.
That makes the result more consequential. Presentation can affect decisions connected to money or resource allocation.
The researchers also identified a key mechanism. In comparative judgments, numeric information was more fluent than non-numeric information.
By more fluent, you mean easier to process for comparison?
Yes, the abstract links the effect to greater fluency of numeric information when people make comparative judgments, which are essential in trade-off decisions.
So this is not simply people trust numbers more.
That would go beyond the supplied evidence. The supported point is narrower. Numbers can be easier to compare, and that comparative fluency helps explain why the quantified dimension gains extra influence.
Then a metric may become dominant partly because it is cognitively easier to line up against another option.
Exactly. An easier to compare dimension can become easier to use as the basis of choice. The practical lesson is not to stop using numbers. Numbers are valuable precisely because they make comparisons easier.
The lesson is to notice when only one side of a decision gets that advantage.
Exactly. Suppose you are comparing job offers. Salary may be precise, while culture, learning, or stability may be described only in words.
Then salary can become the cleanest thing to compare, even if it is not the only thing I care about.
Or consider shopping. One product may have a clear score or measurable specification, while another important quality is described less precisely.
So, before choosing, I should ask whether the easiest dimension to compare is actually the dimension that deserves the most weight.
That question captures the paper's useful insight. Quantification can change not just how information is displayed, but which part of a trade-off becomes influential in judgment.
Can we turn that into a simple decision rule?
Yes, when one factor is numeric and another is not, separate importance from format. First ask what dimensions matter. Then ask whether one feels more compelling mainly because it is easier to compare.
That does not mean ignoring the number. It means giving the non-numeric side a fair chance to matter.
Exactly. If possible, compare dimensions in a more balanced way, rather than letting the most measurable feature automatically become the most important one.
So, the title's question has a real answer. When we count, we may change what counts in the decision.
And a useful final check is simple. Am I choosing based on what matters most, or on what was easiest to quantify?